G'day and welcome to the GameDay Squad Fantasy Cricket Show. I'm Stu, that's Dill, and that's Haz, and we're the Fantasy Bros. Back for our very last live Oz Cricket preview for season 2025-2026. I cannot believe it, but we are finally here, and what a season it has been. The Sixers proved far too good for the Hurricanes on Friday night, eliminating the defending champions from the finals, and the Sixers now fly to the other side of the country where they'll face the Scorchers in the decider for what will be an incredible sixth time in BBL history. As always, thanks everyone for tuning in with us one more time. And for those of you that have joined us each and every show, and there are certainly a few of you, we appreciate you all so much for bringing so much fun and engagement to each and every show. It's been a pleasure, and we hope that continues throughout the footy codes in the next few weeks. As always, anyone joining us, if you've got any last-minute start-sit questions, if you're umming and ahhing over that final spot, let us know, and we'll do the best that we can to steer you in the right direction there, whether it's a safe pick or a pod pick, depending on your round and season aspirations. Boys, Fantasy Bros, we had some big success across Week 15. Did that continue in Week 16? Starting with you, Dill.
G'day, Stu, Haz. G'day, everyone joining us, tuning in for the last time of the season. Look, I cannot believe we're here. It's obviously gone so fast. It's also a sad time for us. We love the Big Bash because it is pretty much the pinnacle of our holidays as well. So we've got to go back to work and have a look at our real jobs again at some point, unfortunately. But look, no, that means that, we do move into the footy codes, the NRL and AFL. And look, I just want to give a massive shout out to Haz. He's done some unreal work this BBL for us, and we've loved having him on the show. And him and Pitty are well underway with firing out their AFL preseason content. And I've been watching along a little bit, editing, and I've got to say I know nothing about AFL, but I have been fully engaged in every one of their conversations. It's been unreal. So look, I'm going to give a little spoiler away. We are dropping the first episode tomorrow on our YouTube channel. So that's at Fantasy Bros AU. So if you are a massive AFL fanatic or you want to get started for the first time, make sure you check out Haz and Pitty's show. Haz, good on you, mate.
Thanks,
well done.
mate.
Look, my round last week, unfortunately, I was outside the top 20 in pretty much all the competitions that I've been working in. Mainly because I took some risks and played some big pods. Obviously, Daniel Hughes that I talked about last round was one of those, and he looked nice early on, a 6 and 4, and then unfortunately it took a pretty good catch in the deep to get rid of him. So it was a bit unlucky there. And then Chowdhury, that I think a lot of coaches played. He had 4 overs, which was unreal to see, and he ended up with very little points to show for it, which was a bit frustrating. But that's the way it goes. And look, I took some risks and they didn't pay off, but they've played off plenty of times this season. So I'm just happy to be here, boys. Happy to be here.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, Dill. Good evening, Stu as well, and everyone tuning in. Thanks for that shout out, Dill. Really appreciate it, mate. Been really enjoying, obviously, creating content with you guys this season, and really keen to get into that AFL space with Pitty. Like you said, the first episode is dropping tomorrow. Had a pretty good pack opening on the Discord stage the other day with Cal and Tom, and had some very handy pulls that I'm excited to get in my team. So I'll keep that for the AFL side of things. But my round 16 was pretty disappointing for myself. I felt the need to chase some points in that hope that I could move into that prize card territory in contender after you kind of told me that I was within striking distance last episode, Dill. And focus all season was to really try and hit that top 10 in Challenger, but it kind of moved focus last round towards the contender to get that prize card. And I kind of just chased a bit of upside and really chased some points and selected Mitch Owen, and I faded Joel Davies, and that really came back to bite me. So it's made getting that prize card a little bit more difficult for this season, but we'll just see where it goes. I know there's probably not a lot of differences in coaches' teams this round. So we'll see, put the best team in and just go with it. But like you said, I've enjoyed it thoroughly this season, and it is coming to an end, but it is what it is. I had a best finish of 29th last round, so it wasn't ideal, but hope for a bit of a bounce back this round to finish it off on a strong note. What about you, Stu? Did you have a bit more success than Dill and I?
Yeah, one top 10 finish in the champion competition. It's so hard, isn't it, with the one game round where you get, one player wrong, or you leave one player out that a lot of the comp own, and you're immediately behind the 8 ball there. You go for a bit of a pod and hoping something will pay off. You're even further behind as a result. You don't really have that second or third game to make up for that mistake in game one. So, yeah, no good in Classic or Challenger, but went a little bit safer in Champion, but still left 44 base points on the park, chasing some upside like you in Michio. And so, yeah, I mentioned in the group chat that we have, if I had just not even opened my phone and jumped on the app, I would have been 44 times 1.4 points better off. And I think you boys would have been in a similar position with 1 or 2 calls as well. But that's the way it goes. We've got a couple of the regulars, as always. Mel in the chat saying, shame it's the last game of the season. It went too quickly. I agree, but when one door closes, Mel, one door opens, or in our case, 2 doors with the rugby league. The Aussie rules. Izzy's here, pumped for the grand final tonight. Who's your tip, Izzy? Who are you going for, mate? Let us know. And Mel, 4th place finish in Challenger. There we go. Pretty good considering she played Owen as well. Chowdhury, disappointing, the 4 overs, but still one of the worst scores out there because he did nothing with the bat. And Flip, he's been disappointing, hasn't he? And Izzy, 2nd in Challenger. How good is that? So the regulars are doing well and even showing some of us up. A bit of love there for Joel Davies in the chat as well. Right, Dill, last show. What's the plan again for any new listeners or anyone that needs a reminder?
Yeah, mate, as always, we're going to break down the final match of the 25-26 Big Bash season. We're going to look at the matchups. We're going to have a look at our top picks in the keeper, batsman, all-rounder position, the bowling position as well. And then we're going to talk about some pods. We've also had a few comments over on the Discord about who to start and a couple of different talking points that we'll get to as well. And then we're going to share our Fantasy Bros consensus team for the round. As you say, it's so tough because there's only the one game, there's only 2 teams, and there's not a whole lot of difference that we're going to have, but hopefully we can find a couple of pods there. As always, we're going to get to our Bro Down Showdown. I think we're getting a bit closer. The double points were on offer last round, and I think there's triple points on offer tonight, so it'll be interesting to see where we go with that. As always, look, now's probably not the time to sign up for Big Bash, but plenty of time to sign up for AFL or NRL. If you do want to sign up for the Big Bash competition, the Oz Cricket competition, you can use the promo code SUMMER, SUMMER, to get 3x3 player common packs. However, if you want to jump on and start rugby league or Aussie rules, we're going to have Fantasy Bros promo codes for that as well. So that first one will be dropping tomorrow, as I said, with the AFL show. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Mate, look, we've got a lot to get through, but I just wanted to pose a question to you first. If we go back to the title slide, we saw that Steve Smith Legend was up there, and that is owned by one of the coaches and is owned by one of the coaches in Discord. Just want to pose a question to you, Stu. How much would you pay for a Steve Smith Legend right now?
Oh, how badly do you need it, Az?
I
Do you reckon it would get you over the line?
Probably not, to be honest. I think I'm probably too far back. If I was playing Champion, maybe just to stab in the dark, but because I think I'm only playing Challenger, probably no use. So I'd probably just pass on that one, to be fair, and just stick with my player.
Gee, if I was the owner, I'd be hanging on to that for a long, long time. Yeah, you could probably get some decent cash for that. But I think having the card being the one of the greatest Big Bash players at the back end of the season we've ever seen, having the only 1.5 times multiplier out there, I think is pretty special. So if I was the coach, I'd be hanging on to that and enjoying the spoils that legend has been bringing you over the last few weeks. And certainly over the next few years, we will probably see a bit more of Steve Smith in Big Bash, I dare say, if they shorten the test series or the test time frame, or extend the Big Bash to allow those test players to play more frequently. And also, post his test career, we've seen Dave Warner absolutely kill it in his last few seasons as well. So that Steve Smith has a lot of legs left in it, and so does his prize card for anyone who's going to snap one up in the prize card draft. If one's still there available for me, I think I should get a prize card. Fingers crossed, unless my team wipes and I get a donut this round. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen unless Skip's in the chat and he's got something to do about that. I might even see if I can claim a second Steve Smith prize card and just hoard all of those and don't let anyone else enjoy that. What do you reckon? Is that a good strategy?
I love it. Just hoard the Steve Smith cards. Go out and arm the leg for his legend, and then just keep them all. Alrighty, let's move on. Obviously, we've got about an hour or so till the first ball is bowled over at Optus Stadium. Stu, do you want to run us through the venue?
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit earlier kickoff or first ball than usual. Obviously, Perth a couple of hours behind us over here in the eastern states, so there'll be plenty of sunshine around. There was some chance of rain, but I think it was minimal, and 0 to 1 millimeters expected throughout the afternoon and evening. So I don't think we're in, any danger of losing any overs. It could just be a little bit overcast, maybe a light shower or two rolling through, but certainly nothing that is going to disrupt the cricket. We saw them play in some pretty poor conditions just a couple of nights ago. So no, we're not going to have any impact. And it's only the one game as well. So whoever you play will be locked in. But I don't think we have to worry about the rain whatsoever. Some of the key venue stats is a little bit interesting. We've got all players averaging about 36 points at the ground. But when you have a look at the first innings batting scores and the chasing batting scores as well, it doesn't make for a great reading. Just the 18 points per batsman on average for the team batting first, and that drops to 16.5 for the chasing team in terms of batting points for GDS players. So I think we're going to rely on plenty of points from the all-rounders, from the bowlers as well. But all we need is that one batsman to really get going, and that could make or break our round score. So this season, Scorchers have allowed an average of 30 points per match to Sixers players, and the Sixers have given up a little bit more, allowing 34 points to Scorchers players. So a little bit of an edge there to the Perth Scorchers players. Based on all of that information, mate, anything in particular stand out for you, or anything that you might want to target as a result of that?
Well, once again, I think we're going to keep coming back to it. It's really difficult when there's only the one game and you've only got the two teams that you can kind of target. And when there's not much difference in the first innings and the chasing and the second innings, it doesn't really matter really who wins the bat flip. I'm probably not going to be looking to really keep an eye on that to see if I'm going to make any last minute changes. I'll probably just roll with the teams that I've selected and just back their ability to do well. But what it does probably say is, like you said, it's probably going to be more the bowlers or maybe the all-rounders that are going to be featuring heavily in the scoring, because the batting averages don't really stand out. So probably not looking to shy away from the three main batsmen and whoever your wicketkeeper may be, and just kind of stay the same as everyone else and lock those three away, and then start to differ elsewhere depending on who you like, and maybe who we can throw out there as potential pod as well.
Same for you, Dill.
Yeah, look, the interesting thing though for me is that the Scorchers have only chased twice this season, and both times they haven't needed to score too many runs. So it'll be interesting to see whether that, how that shapes if they do have to chase down a bigger total, which, we have seen at Optus Stadium in the past. But yeah, look, they've only chased down 100 and something and then 130 odd. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, in terms of the bat flip, what teams want to do. Obviously, majority of the season has gone the way of the team winning the bat flip and fielding first. So it'll be really interesting. But in terms of a GDS perspective, I don't think it's going to impact some decisions too much, like we've seen in the past with some other venues.
Yeah, spot on. I think that bat flip will certainly be pretty important. All right, let's get into the bat and wicket keeper position, boys. On screen, the top 5 averaging bats and wicket keepers based on what the Stats Centre is providing us. Obviously, our numbers are slightly different based on the games in which the players actually take the field. When they have a double match, their score for GameDay squad is recorded as their highest score. But our numbers factor in to an average of both of those scores. So what you see on screen is what the stats center is showing us. If the boys rattle off a few numbers, they might be slightly different to what you see on screen, but we'll do our best to line things up where we can. But obviously, we've got Stephen Smith up there at the top. He's been absolutely phenomenal. 101 average, or just shy of 101. We got Cooper Connolly, Finn Allen, Josh Inglis, and Josh Philippi there rounding out the top 5. But other names that you might consider playing in your squad: Dan Hughes, we got Lockie Shaw, Laurie Evans, Nick Hobson. Are they a chance for a late cameo if named? And probably someone not too much of a chance of being named, Jordan Silk, averaging 9.8, which is pretty disappointing from him. So those 5 names on screen are probably the key names that we want to target. Let's start with you, mate. Anyone not on screen that you think is a decent shout, and then who's your main focus for the bat wicketkeeper position?
Like I just mentioned, I feel like it's going to be very difficult to shy away from the top 3 there in the bat position. And I feel like coaches are probably going to look to split maybe Inglis and Philippi, and I think Dill, you'll probably touch on those because that was something that got posed in the Discord yesterday. So myself, I'm probably looking at those 3 batsmen and then Inglis and Philippi in one team each. If Pod potentially, the only one I really like is probably Lockie Shaw, and I'll leave that conversation to Dill to talk about with the wicket keepers. But for me, it's those 3, and that's pretty much it. And it's pretty hard to look past Finn Allen with the form that he's in. He's the 4th highest averaging batsman in the competition for the season, with an impressive average of 59.3 points per game. And his recent performances suggest he's peaking at the perfect time for the Scorchers. He was outstanding in that qualifying final against the Sixers, producing the highest batting score of the night with 63 points. And that came from 49 runs with the bat, including 2 4s and 4 6s in a game where runs were actually pretty hard to come by. Where only 4 other players managed to score 20 or more in that match, with the next best score being Steve Smith's 37. And obviously we know how well he's seeing the ball at the moment. So it just highlights how well Allen is seeing the ball right now. That innings continued a bit of a blistering patch of form for Allen, who is averaging 88.5 points across his last 4 games, firmly establishing himself as one of the most reliable and explosive options for coaches in that bat lineup. The power is simply off the charts. He's broken the BBL record for the most sixes hit in a single season this year, smashing 37 maximums, with the next best being Josh Brown, 17 sixes behind him on 20. So that gap alone underlines the damage that Allen can do when he gets going. And if he's at the crease, he carries genuine match winning and score upside. And right now he's looking as confident and destructive as anyone in the competition, alongside probably Steve Smith. So I feel like you've got to lock him in this round. Yeah,
absolutely. Someone who chooses not to send the ball into the ropes or into the fence, but absolutely clear it, is someone that you can't shy away from. That boundary, that 6 to 4s ratio is just incredible, isn't it? And he's maintained that throughout the season. It wasn't just a once-off. He's done it, all 10 or 12 games. Dill, I imagine that there's no way you'd be fading Finn Allen. And if so, who's your wicketkeeper spot going to?
Yeah, look, just before I do that, Mel has commented, and I saw Such as Fife has commented in the Discord as well. It's raining now over at the stadium. We'll blow over by game time. So hopefully we do get the bat flip as scheduled, because remember, if we do not get a bat flip, the game still locks out. GDS still locks out at that 6:14 time slot, Australian Eastern Standard. So either way, whether there's a bat flip or not, you must make sure your team is ready to go by then. So that's an important thing to note. Yeah, look, the big question I think everyone has for tonight's game is which wicketkeeper should we be playing? And look, I'm going to preface it. You touched on Lockie Shaw there. I'm going to preface it by saying that I'm not going to include Lockie Shaw in that discussion. I think he's a super viable pod in your batting position. He's batting, look, at 6, maybe he could move up a little bit. Potentially there's some wiggle room there. He's averaging 18 runs per game, but he's had no score over 30 so far. He is averaging almost 1 catch per game in the field. So they do like him in the hot spots. So I think that's probably the risk that you take with Lockie Shaw, is that he hasn't had that score over 30 yet, but you do get some advantage with his fielding stats. So if you want to take a bit of a risk that could go either way. Maybe Lockie Shaw in the batting position, but I think for me, it's all about the Joshes, the conversation between Josh Inglis and Josh Philippe. And I think I can speak for all coaches that we've all felt the highs and lows of Josh Philippe this season. In his first 3 games, he scored a combined 170 runs with the bat. And since those 3 games, he has subsequently scored a combined 98 runs in the next 8 games. So it's been a pretty disappointing drop-off for Flip. What he has done, though, he has added fielding points almost every game, and he's added them pretty consistently. He's averaging almost 8 points per game, so at least one catch essentially per game as well. He's obviously had a stumping in those stats there. In his previous 2 encounters at Optus, Flip's taken the 2 catches behind the stumps, and then the Scorchers have allowed more GDS points to wicketkeepers compared to the Sixers. The Scorchers are averaging 36.5 to wicketkeepers. So the stats do tell a story around Philippe potentially having that bounce back. But I'm going to say it again, like I did the last few games, is that I think the role that Philippe has, based on the way that he looks like he's playing, is go out there and swing for the fences. And it's okay if you lose your wicket, because we've had Steve Smith in and he scored a bucket load of runs. So it might be different if Steve Smith gets out cheaply. But I just, for me, I feel like Flip's been given that one job after a decent total has already been started to accumulate. Look, on the other hand, Josh Inglis, he hasn't fared that much better. He's had those 3 games and he's hit 42 runs. He hit 42 runs, on his second outing. However, since then, he's had scores of 1 and 2 runs respectively since then. So, again, a couple of down games for him. However, for me, it's all been about the fielding prowess of Josh Inglis. So that's really kept his GDS score afloat. He's amassed 98 GDS points from fielding from 4 games. So almost 100 points just from catches, from a run out and a stumping. So he's taken 8 catches. That includes 1 3-catch game. So he did get the bonus for that. He initiated a run out and he had a stumping as well. In terms of at Optus, Inglis has played 2 games at Optus Stadium and he's averaged almost 30 points just from fielding at home. Look, so for me, those stats really tell a story. The Sixers have restricted wicketkeepers to only 32 GDS points this season, but I'm not sure that's going to matter too much. I think that there's every opportunity for Inglis to go above that. And so the conclusion for me, I think it's a pretty simple one. If you want to play super safe, you select Josh Philippe because we have seen that he can score some runs. But if you want to go big with that upside of potentially in the field, I think we go with Josh Inglis. And for me, that's where I'm going to land. I'm looking for a lot of upside tonight. So I'm going to go Josh Inglis. We know what he can do behind the stumps. He's bringing that Australian Test quality batting back as well. So hopefully he can get the job done with the bat and then just add plenty of points in the field.
Yeah, I think I'm completely with you there, Dil. I'm going to probably chase the upside of Josh Inglis as well. Obviously, we saw him hit that 42 runs in that second outing that he came back from Test duties. And we just know that he's a quality T20 player. He's the Australian keeper for the T20s. He's got to be heading over to the World Cup shortly. So he's probably going to look to try and find some form. I know he has really struggled at home this season, but it's only a matter of time. We often say it. You can't keep batters down forever and you can't keep them on a high forever. So he's due for a bounce back. And I'm just going to put all my eggs in this basket probably for tonight, hoping that obviously he's got that safe floor, averaging 30 points just in fielding alone at Optus. So if he does potentially fail with the bat, at least he's got that safe floor there that might help save his score a little bit for coaches. But we also know that he could also hit 100 off 45 balls quite easily. So I'll be chasing that upside alongside you, mate. Stu, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Those fielding numbers just make him an excellent play there. Obviously, a lot of wickets are falling off the stadium, and he's typically involved in a catch behind the stumps or, a stumping or a run-out opportunity as well. He's so good with the gloves, probably a little bit better than Philippe there as well. So, yeah, you've both talked me into going Josh Inglis, and I'm sure between the both of you, you've talked plenty of viewers into 2 or 3 of their bat wicketkeeper options. So with those 3 plus 2 others, I think 99% of teams are going to be made up of those 3 you've talked about, plus obviously Steve Smith and Cooper Conley. So I don't need to talk too much about their stats and why you should pick them. So I'm just going to spend the next maybe 60 to 90 seconds basking in the Steve Smith BBL greatness one last time. Yes, some people might want to opt for a Lockie Shaw in the hope he does see some meaningful time out there in the middle during the the center part of the match. But I think Inglis, Philippi, Finn Allen, Cooper Conley, and Steve Smith. Let's start with runs scored this season, 275 in 5 innings, which puts him 7th on the list of all bat eligible players, and more total runs than the following names. Bear in mind, these guys have all played double-digit games compared to Steve Smith's 5. He so more runs than Cooper Conley, Nathan McSweeney, Chris Lynn, and Jake Fraser McGurk. Not a bad list, all of them in double-digit games played. 22 fours and 13 sixes for Steve Smith, which is 7 boundaries per game, including that shortened washout where he could have had a lot longer a bit of time out there in the middle. It's the best ratio of all players in the comp. And just in case we needed any icing on the cake, he's taken 4 catches as well, equal most with Marnus, and no one else who's played 5 or less matches has taken any more. He's also dropped 2 or 3, I think, uncharacteristically. So really, those numbers could be even higher. If one comes to him today, you surely would have your money on him taking that without a spill. Here's something quite fun as well. This is the name of the highest run scorer for the Sixers in the past 13 matches that Steve Smith has played for them. You ready? Smith, 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 Philippi, Smith, Enriquez, Smith, Smith, Smith. It's obvious he'll be in my team once again. But my question for you boys, after hearing all of that, his ownership is probably going to be 100% as long as a coach owns his card. So rather than trying to pot up elsewhere, maybe in the all-rounder or bowler position, any of you game enough to maybe take a gamble on anti-potting a Steve Smith in any teams and leaving him out entirely as the big pot and playing someone that not many others will in the bat wicket-keeper position and just hoping that he has one of those down scores? Dill, let's start with you.
Short answer is I will not be anti-potting Steve Smith. Longer answer, though, if I was going to, I think it would be with the bloke that we've all sort of touched on in Lockie Shaw. I think he's got plenty of talent, and I think the Sixers do love what they see from Lockie Shaw to the point where he's been getting some decent game time in the middle, and he's been scoring quite nicely. But like I said, he hasn't gone above that 30 yet. But look, the thing is that we know, it just takes one decent ball at Steve Smith, and he could be out for a duck. We haven't seen it for a very long time, but it could happen, and it does happen in the Big Bash. So we do expect that at some point in his career that will happen. Am I game enough to hope that happens tonight? I'm not. I wish I was. Maybe I need some more convincing.
In one sentence or less, Has?
No, but I think I differ a little bit between Dill. If I was looking to go elsewhere, I'd probably be playing the wicketkeeper that I wasn't playing in the wicketkeeper slot. So I'd play Inglis and Philippi. No, but that's what I would do.
There you go. Let's see who's brave enough to anti-pod Stephen Smith. If he does get a duck and no catches, if he does end up on a donut or a -2, and anyone can prove that they've played him in their squad, I might give him a well done pack or card or a rugby league something if you're game enough. But good luck. Anyone wishing
I'm
to
changing
do
my
that.
team right now.
Boys, we're gonna get some team lists out shortly. So let's get started on the all-rounder position, so that we can make sure we've still got 5-10 minutes before that first ball is bowled to make any last-minute changes. If team lists throw out anything funky. On screen, you can see the top all-rounders and the top averages for the season. Aaron Hardy and Jack Edwards headline that above 60-point players. Joel Davies going along very nicely. Benny Dwarshuis getting better each game as well, it seems. Ashton Turner makes his way onto the screen for the first time this season. Shawnee Abbott had a nice game as well, averaging 43. There are a few other players not on screen that may come into contention for coaches. Hayden Kerr was going all right at the start of the season. If he can get a game averaging 47, Mitchy Marsh just under 30, and Moses Enriquez and Benny Menenti both under 20. I think he'd be pretty game to roll out one of those. But we have seen some crazy things happen in the past. Dill, we'll kick things off with you once again, mate. Who is your all-rounder to target?
Yeah, so I touched on it at the start of the episode. I chased the ceiling of Mitch Owen last round, and that didn't really pay off for me. But I am going to double down and chase the ceiling of Mitch Marsh this time around. Mitch Marsh shapes as that ultimate high-risk, high-reward pod play this round. On paper, the matchup looks pretty underwhelming. Marsh has struggled against the Sixers at Optus Stadium this season, registering scores of -2 and 6 in their two matchups, which will understandably scare a lot of coaches away and keep his ownership pretty low. Marsh is averaging the 42.4 GDS points for the season. What really interests me, though, is ceiling games. So obviously, like I said, I'm trying to chase that ceiling, and he's produced two monster scores this season. He scored 155 against the Hurricanes and 116 against the Strikers, both of which came away from home, showing he's capable of blowing games apart regardless if he's away from his home conditions. But what's actually interesting, though, when filtered by games at Optus, his numbers are far more modest. He has a higher score of 56 and an average of just 22.1 for the season. And I don't think that will sit well with him. With a sold-out Optus Stadium expected, I can see him wanting to put on a show for the Scorchers faithful in the decider. And yes, I know we always talk about this as well with Mitch Marsh. We're relying purely on his batting in that all-rounder slot. But that's, I think, exactly why he's such an appealing pod, because I think coaches will look at the recent matchups and probably look elsewhere at someone who might bat and bowl. But I'm banking on Marsh being desperate to deliver one final big performance before he heads off to the World Cup, and that begins, and he skippers Australia. So I'm going to put my eggs in the baskets. I'm chasing some points to try and get that prize card. And hopefully this time Mitch Marsh can do the job for me.
Yeah, he's definitely capable. There's every chance that he can go absolutely nuts and just get on a roll, and then he just finds the center of the bat with absolutely everything. I'm just having a quick look at no, he didn't play in that BBL 12 grand final against the Heat. So I was going to look at how he might stand up in a recent final. He didn't take part in that, so he must have had Australian duties. I can't get there myself, playing a little bit safer, but he's the type of guy that does scare me. If anyone was close behind me, I'd probably expect them to roll out a Mitchy Marsh. He can go anywhere from, -2 to 122 plus. Dill, can you get the Mitch Marsh? And who are you going to focus your all-rounder spot around?
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat as you. It's really hard to get around Mitch Marsh, but I will have him in one of my teams where I'm going pretty pod heavy across majority of that team. The interesting thing will be next season whether we see a GDS positional change for Mitch Marsh. He hasn't bowled a ball this season. Obviously has the all-rounder tag. So if he moves to that bat position only, it might become a little bit more well owned and well used in GDS as well. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. But look, yesterday in the Discord, I put it out there. What are some discussion topics that you want us to look at? And one of them is Joel Davies a must play in this round? And I think coaches have to find a way to get him in. And I know it's tough because you look at those names on the screen there. Aaron Hardy, I think, is going to be highly owned. Jackie Edwards and Ben Dwarsh is going to be highly owned. Abbott's come off a decent game last game. So it's going to be really tough to find a spot for Joel Davies, but I think he's just got to be there. And he's definitely going to be in one or two, or at least two of my sides for sure. He's just gone about his business quite nicely this season. He's probably been a little bit underrated and probably gone under the radar a little bit, but he's amassed 14 wickets across the regular season and finals. And the impressive thing in itself is that that is just as impressive, but what's more impressive is he's only done it off an average of 2.5 overs per game. So he's not even getting that many overs with the ball. We saw last game, Ben Menenti had 4 and got 0 wickets, and Joel Davies had two overs and took 2 wickets. So they're not really relying on him too much with the ball, but he's still getting it done. And look, as all good all-rounders should do, he's also contributing with the bat at times as well. He's garnered 118 runs this season and 7 opportunities with the bat. And just to ensure that Davies can showcase all aspects of an all-rounder, he's also got that three-dimensional talent where he's added 7 catches in 11 games this season. So he's really worked himself into this sort of role where it's almost must start for GDS coaches. And I think it'd be hard-pressed not to find a spot for him, especially if he can retain that number 5 like we saw last game. I think that's a really nice spot for him to come in. It means he potentially has more time in the middle and just can accrue some more batting points there through the middle before he needs to have a bowl or vice versa. So I really like that spot 5, and it'd be interesting to see when the bat flip happens in a moment. The other thing I like, he should find some success on the Perth deck as well. I talked last week about SCG being conducive to spin, or the Perth deck at Optus Stadium is even more conducive. Look, we noted all season that Optus is a great spot for quicks because it's hard and fast, but it's been super conducive for spin as well, allowing an average of 24.4 GDS bowling points to spinners this season, which is almost equal to that of the fast bowlers as well. And it's also the most that we've seen all season from all venues for spinners. So definitely an opportunity there for the ball to spin and for Joel Davies to take a wicket or two. The Scorchers themselves have been pretty good at allowing points to all-rounders this season, but it's been those all-rounders in that 5-6 spot that have been the most effective, averaging 48 GDS points. So that bodes really well for Davies as well, and I think that's just another reason why we should be getting him into the side. As I said, the tough decision for coaches is then going to be whether you pair him with or over Abbott, Dwarshuis, Edwards. For me, out of those 3 that you could be playing with Davies, I'm going to be fading Abbott. We did say last show that he's due, and he went and took a twofer, and he had his big game, but I feel like he could probably go back to being wicketless here in this game. We've seen plenty of games where he has gone wicketless, and it's interesting because he's really done well in tightening up his overs and not allowing too many runs off his balls. He's had plenty of dot balls. That's Abbott, but he just hasn't really taken any wickets. So I think for me, I'd rather look at some upside in Dwarshuis, Edwards, and Davies for me, and then probably pair it with an Aaron Hardy.
Yeah, love that, mate. Boys, the unthinkable has happened. We've got a delay in the bat flip. Bit of rain blowing through. Might need some eyes and ears on the ground. Once again, Mel's, any information coming in through the Discord, let us know, please. Hopefully it doesn't hang around for too long and we do get a bat flip shortly. But, boys, that just gives us a little bit more time to chat all-rounders and then bowlers before we actually get those final 11s. And just a quick reminder for anyone still here that lockout will still occur at 6:14 p.m. Even if team lists aren't out yet, whoever you've got named in your side will be locked in there. But hopefully we'll get some good news shortly. Haz, you said that you were playing Mitchy Marsh. Dill's obviously mentioned 4 or 5 really good all-rounders there. That means you probably need to drop one of those or actually 2. Who are you? What's your sort of rankings and who are you going to play Mitchy Marsh over?
So yeah, I'm with you, Dill. I am going to fade Abbott in pretty much all my teams. I think this round, I think you're right. I think he had his big game last game. And I know Optus might suit him well, but I think if we're looking at potential upside, and once again, I feel like that's probably the consistent thing with the players that I'm looking at is how big can they go, and I'm really chasing that ceiling. So I'm probably looking to play a bit of a mix of between Davies, Dwarshuis, and Edwards across my 3 teams. I don't actually own any Joel Davies rarity cards, so I'm only up to the bronze. So I can't play him in Challenger, which I probably would like to do. So for me, it's probably a Dwarshuis, Edwards, Hardy, and Marsh in a Challenger, and then maybe sit Dwarshuis in contender and play Davies instead and just chase those points.
Righto. Well, let me give you a name, boys, and let's see if this is tempting at all. I'm not going to be able to get there myself, but like you with Mitch Marsh has, coaches may look to go against the norm and throw up a bit of a Hail Mary, a bit of a prayer with someone like Ashton Turner to give them one final captain's knock in pursuit of weekly or season-long success. On the surface, to me, the pick is just yuck, and there was a reason why he was my Scorchers fade in the preseason. However, look, if the game script lines up and the match sort of in the balance and Turner's at the crease and he's got a bit to do for his side, he's certainly proven he can get it done. I did look back at that BBL 12 final against the Heat over in Perth as well. He came in at 3 for 54 and scored a match-winning 53 from 32 with 5 fours and 2 sixes. He steered his side to a win with 4 balls remaining. Yeah, that was 3 years ago. And he's only gone above 30 once so far this season, which is, pretty scary. And that was, of course, when he got that 99 not out from 41 balls, resulting in a monster 139 GDS points. And geez, if you can get a repeat of that this evening, that'll certainly separate you from a lot of other players who don't quite have that same ceiling, even though they bat and bowl a bit as well in the all-rounder spot. Obviously, Turner isn't known for his bowling. He has bowled on 2 occasions, just the 2 overs and 3 wickets. Thank you very much. So he's pretty impressive in terms of not bowling too many deliveries, but still getting plenty of wickets. And both those occasions have come at Perth as well. So if they're needing something with the ball, he's not afraid to roll the arm over himself, and it's certainly been quite successful and fruitful already this season. I think the opposition bats probably might want to try to target him as a part-timer or even a below part-timer, and a couple of silly shots can lead to some wickets, and that always is certainly handy from a GDS perspective. So look, he's obviously got a pretty low floor. He's had scores of 19, 15, 17, 1, 24, and 3. Look, they're not good whatsoever, and you'd expect those all-rounders in Dwarshuis, Abbott, Edwards, Davies, Hardy, they should comfortably get past that sort of low mark of 24, just because they've got that multi-dimensional role. They do have a bit of a ceiling, those all-rounders, but each of them have still only passed 100 once. Hardy, Edwards, Davies, and Dwarshuis both gone past 100, and we've seen Turner go past 100 once as well. So if you think this is going to be an occasion for Turner to get that 100 GDS point score again, then he's not actually that bad of a pick. But yeah, look, that could certainly blow up in your face pretty quickly if he doesn't spend much time out in the middle, and we're not going to rely on him too much with the ball. Do we think, Dill, any coaches can get to Ashton Turner, or is it definitely just a no chance?
Yeah, I guess it's probably a similar conversation that we just had about Mitch Marsh. It's probably in the same realm of possibilities for Ashton Turner to have a big knock again. I guess the benefit is the potential to bowl. As you said, 2 overs, 3 wickets. It's a pretty good strike rate. Who knows if he's going to bowl again, but he's got that potential there. So he probably just has slightly more upside. And in fact, we can see him on the screen there as, part of the top 6 in terms of overall. When we look at his true average, including all doubles, etc., he's currently sitting at 40.1, whereas Mitch Marsh is just below him on 39.8. So there is a world where I can see that Ashton Turner may overtake Mitch Marsh in this game and have a big one. But I think either option is going to be, that big risk. And I definitely won't be playing both of them. I'd be playing one of them. And I guess it's a flip of the coin to who you think is going to have some more upside. Mitch Marsh with his massive batting potential, or Ashton Turner just being able to accumulate runs and then potentially have an over with the ball. So, yeah, for me, if I was going to take the risk, I'd be going Mitch Marsh over Turner.
Still the same for you, Haz? Couldn't tempt you on a Turner?
No, but I was surprised when I did look at that Turner had averaged more than Marsh all season. Obviously, Marsh has the 2 ceiling games and Turner really only had the 1. So I was very intrigued to see that average was actually higher. Obviously, I know he has picked up a couple of wickets, which helps. But no, I think I'm going to chase Mitch Marsh over Turner. He's obviously opening the batting, which we know that it means he's going to bat. Turner's been coming in at 6, which means he might not actually get a bat. Yes, Optus has given a lot of wickets, but some games it might not allow that, and it might be a different script, and it might be dominated by the bat, and Turner might get a donut. So I think I'm going to go with the player that is guaranteed to at least bat, and then hopefully that upside can come through.
Yeah, I think it's all about that he's going to take the field. He's going to have some time out in the middle. Ashton Turner's no guarantee. So yeah, a bit of safety there. Boys, quick update. Covers are coming off. players are on the outfield warming up. I suspect we'll have a bat flip pretty shortly. In the meantime, let's get through the top averaging bowlers. We got Mitchy Starc, absolutely killing it, averaging 67. David Payne and Jai Richardson neck and neck there, 56 and 54 respectively. Joel Paris, does he get a game this evening? We'll find out pretty shortly. Or is it Marley Beardman coming off a pretty handy score? We might hear a bit more about him later on. Just the 31 average, but did have a pretty nice haul in his most recent match. Not too many options to pick from, gents, particularly when all of the Sydney Sixers players or their bowlers are all-rounders. We really only have Mitchy Starc to pick from there. So I think a similar situation for coaches to Steve Smith. If you've got his card, every chance Mitchy Starc gets a run in your side. Who's your bowler to target and why?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think if anyone owns a Mitch Starc card, it's going to be played. So it's between the three Scorchers quicks. Yeah, I guess that's depending whether Paris gets named or not. You could throw his name into the mix, but I think it's probably between Jai Richardson, David Payne, and Marley Beardman. But to me, I think Jai Richardson shapes as that genuine ceiling play this round. Obviously, like I said, I'm chasing ceiling players. He's averaging 53.8 GDS points for the season, which currently has him sitting as the fourth highest averaging bowler in the competition. He rediscovered his confidence and control at exactly the right time for the Scorchers in their round 14 clash with the Stars, where he produced one of the performances of the season with the ball. It delivered a massive 134-point outing to help secure a home qualifying final, ripping through that Stars batting lineup with the figures of 4 for 16, which included a double wicket made it in that power surge, while also collecting the 15 dot balls and 3 catches. So I think it was a reminder for everyone of just how damaging he can be when he finds his rhythm. Obviously, Australia rates him quite highly. Every time he's fit, he seems to be in and around that Australian side, whether it's test or limited overs form of cricket. He didn't quite replicate that performance in the qualifying final against the Sixers. We've just finished with the 1 wicket and the 8 dot balls. However, he still managed to find his way to 51 points, which was actually equal third best among bowlers on the night alongside Mitchy Starc. But it was his 20 runs with the bat that really stood out, which was an important knock that helped the Scorchers post a bit of a defendable total. And we saw Riley Meredith have a bit of a successful outing against the Sixers on Friday. He took the 3 wickets and bowled 10 dot balls. And the comparison between the two is pretty hard to ignore. Richardson and Meredith are very similar bowlers who like to bowl fast, swing that new ball, and look to their variations at the back end of the innings, and especially trying to nail those Yorkers. So if that game plan holds, I think Jai Richardson has every chance to produce another ceiling score, and that's exactly what I'll be chasing again this round.
Very humble man there, Has. You had a great opportunity to rub in a Brodown Showdown reminder when you went Jai Richardson, and he had that monster score.
Can't forget that.
Yeah, that 20 runs with the bat, super handy, and that's why some coaches might want to look to him over the likes of a Payne or a Beardman. Looks like bat flip will take place at 3:50 p.m. local time. We got a few minutes there. Dill, how are you splitting the Perth bowlers?
Yeah, look, I can't go a final show without mentioning my guy in Marley Beardman, can I? It's too good to miss an opportunity like that. The young bloke in Marley Beardman, he's really come into his own this season. It's really good to see. He's starting to get rewarded with some more time with the ball, and as a result, we've seen him take some more wickets as well. In his first 6 matches of the season, Beardman has taken 3 wickets from those 6 games from only 17 overs. So he really didn't have a great start to the season. However, in his last 4 games since then, he has bowled 15 overs, only once not completing his full allotment. He's taken 8 wickets, which included the 3 for in the qualifier against the Sixers. Across those 4 games, he's also been super tidy with his spells, bowling a combined 41 dot balls. So as a result, Beardman in those last 4 games, or over the last month of cricket, he has averaged 52 GDS points. So that's a real contrast to the first part of his season. And look, it's rivaling teammate David Payne's 51.5 average over the past month as well. So very similar between those two. Obviously, Jai Richardson just out in front in the last month as well because of that massive 4 that he took. But they're all very similar, and they're all getting it done together at pretty much the same time. There's not really a game where one is having a big score over the other outside of that Richardson spell. The thing for me, though, it looks like Beardman's success has occurred due to that man that you touched on, Stu, Joel Paris, and his absence from the side. Look, he's in the squad. The teams are about to get named. If he is in contention for this game and comes in, that might just throw a spanner in the works for anyone that is looking at Beardman. I know I've got him in my team at the moment, and if Joel Paris is named, I'm just a little bit concerned that he might take some overs in some of those wickets off Marley Beardman. So it's just a little watch and wait for me over the next 3 or so minutes.
Yeah, it looks like the news is coming out from the centre. The bat flip has occurred. We might just pause on that for about 60 seconds. I'll run through my bowler, and then we'll spend a bit of time just breaking down those teams and any changes we might make to our own personal sides. So if you've got teams listed anywhere, anyone in the comments still has, if you can find them, throw them up into the comments section. We'll get them on screen shortly. You both spoke about the two quicks there, Richardson and Marley Beardman. I'm going to play David Payne as my key bowler and have a Richardson in 2 and a Beardman in 1 as well, just in case that big performance occurs again, Dill. So, look, Dave Payne, in every match he's played, he's outperformed Jai Richardson apart from that big 134, only just, but all the little extra points do count. Not only is he consistently taking wickets with 8 and 5 games, he's bowling plenty of dot balls with 58. Even though he's sort of been asked to come in and bowl some really difficult overs, during the surge or up front early on when the field is up, he's still able to get plenty of dot balls as well. In comparison, he's bowled 8 extra dots than Jai Richardson in 1 fewer games, and just the 3 fewer wickets than Beardman in 5 less games. We know that Turner trusts him in some of those crucial games, and I think we just saw that the Perth Scorchers are going to be bowling first, so they're guaranteed to get through their 20 overs. It wouldn't surprise me to see David Payne with the ball in his hand in over number 20, and we know how vital that is, how conducive that is for wicket taking and GDS point scoring. Stark's obviously going to be a very popular pick, so it's between Payne, Richo, and Beardman. Even though Beardman did come off that 3 for 20 against the same opposition less than a week ago, he'll definitely make a team. I think the Sixers will have sort of done a bit more work around defending him now, and certainly it's going to be Jai Richardson and David Payne with the big game experience that the Scorchers are going to call on. And yeah, look, if the Scorchers are chasing a big score and it comes right down to the tail, Jai Richardson is obviously in frame for some runs, and let's hope David Payne can get a few if he's called upon. But Perth fans will be hoping that is not the case. All right, let's have a look at what we've just found out. Scorchers have won the flip. They will bowl. So the Sixers will bat, and I did see that Moses Enriquez was thinking about having a bat first anyway, until sort of the rain came and the overhead conditions changed a little bit. So let's start with the Sixers lineup there on screen. We've got Smith and Hughes up the top. Once again, Philippi, Enriquez, Shaw, Edwards, Davies, Menenti, Dwarshuis, Abbott and Stark. So what's that, an unchanged 11 from the previous match? Still with Lockie Shaw there in the middle order. Dan Hughes opening. Gee, I would have loved to see Flip open up. And if he's going to have a license to swing, do it when the field is up in those first few overs. Hughes has, found timing a little bit difficult. He did get a few nice shots off the other night, but then, held out in the outfield. So disappointing for those that want to play Philippi. Or does that change now that the Sixers are batting first? He's sort of more guaranteed a bat than Inglis. Obviously, we'd expect Inglis to have a bat at 4 or 5. But does that change anyone's perspective on Philippi at all?
I'll let you go, Dill.
A little bit. I did speak about a couple of shows ago. Sorry, that Philippi has had a little bit more success batting first compared to chasing. He's, as I said, he scored 180 runs in those first 4 games. That included that 96 all the way back in game 7. So, he does seem to score better first, but I think still that upside of in the field from Inglis is probably going to be too great. And I still think the way that Marsh, Allen and Hardy play, I think there's every chance that Inglis will still get a bat no matter what. So I'm not too concerned about them batting first. I love Shaw at 5. I think I'm going to make a change and put Shaw into one of my lineups now. I was going to go the double wicket keeper in one with both Inglis and Philippi, but I am going to make that change and put Shaw into my pod lineup. I really like that. Look, and just on Mitchell Starc, read an interesting stat today. In his last 4 appearances in cricket, so that's Test and BBL, Stark's taken a wicket on his 5th ball of his first over. So let's see if we can get a 5th ball wicket in this over. And I know someone in the Discord yesterday posted which Scorchers opener to start get in his first over. I'm going to say that he actually takes Finn Allen out, and a lot of GDS coaches will be super upset because their bowler will get one of their main batsmen, and anyone that has gone something different to Finn Allen will be absolutely fist pumping.
Wow. Let's see if that comes off. Just quickly, anything stand out to you from the Sixers team list there before we move on to the Scorchers?
I'm just curious, Dill. You said you're playing Lockie Shaw in your pod team. You're talking about double wicket keeper. Who are you leaving out from the batters?
Yeah, taking out Finn Allen. So I'm going to rest Finn Allen from my pod team. And in that potential likelihood that Starc will knock him over, we've seen plenty of times Finn Allen go 6, then out the next ball. And I could see something like that happening where Finn Allen just absolutely lines up Starc in that first over. The ball goes into the crowd keeps the ball, the next ball comes out, and it just clean bowls and wickets everywhere. The death rattle occurs, and Finn puts his bat under the arm and trudges off and says goodbye to another BBL career.
Yeah,
you go, Haz.
I was going to say, I don't mind that shout, and because obviously I'm targeting Mitch Marsh. I hope it is Allen that potentially gets out if Starc is to take a wicket in the first over, and it's not Mitch Marsh trudging back for a -2 GDS score. So I think I'll be watching that closely, and hopefully Allen faces up to that first over from Mitchy Starc. But coming back to the wicket keepers, I don't think it really changes much for me. I'm still going to chase the upside of Inglis. We looked at the batting averages earlier. There's not much difference between first and second innings. So I'm just going to stick with what I was keen on, and it doesn't really. The Philippines batted first the last couple of games and really hasn't done anything anyway. So I'll stick with Inglis.
Yeah, every chance they're walking to the sheds at halftime, and Inglis has more points than Philippi anyway, through his high accumulation of points in the field versus Philippi's poor form with the bat. There's the Perth Scorchers 11 on the screen, boys. We haven't talked a lot about, or we haven't mentioned Brodie Couch whatsoever. It was a bit about Joel Paris. Brodie Couch, is he the forgotten man, or is the debutant there in Rickardson? Anyone know much about him?
Mate, I was trying to get through it very quickly so we could talk about it. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Richardson. My apologies.
Richardson.
So unchanged 11. Brodie Couch deal. Can we get there?
Nah, not for me. 5 wickets across 7 games this season. He's really had zero impact in the team. He came in that qualifier, had 2 overs and 0 wickets and 2 dot balls and an extra in that as well. So yeah, I don't think he's a genuine wicket taker. I think he's just there for a bit of change of pace and to maybe a bit of variation, but it doesn't do the trick, and it means that the next bowler up generally will take that wicket. So yeah, for me, Brodie Couch is a sit. But yeah, really keen on Marley Beardman. It's just a shame that we don't see anything with him from in terms of batting. But yeah, Richardson obviously has probably that big role with the bat if it gets that deep.
Yeah, number 8, always pretty handy there if you frontline bowler can still hit some runs at 8. Has anything for you before we move on?
Just with Brodie Couch, I think he's probably their 6th bowler. Like, I know he's a bowler, but I think Hardy and Connolly will get the ball more frequently and more overs. So I think he only bowled the 2 overs in the qualifier. So, and I think it'd be a really big pod if you went that direction, but I think it's a no from me.
Yeah. That's all you need to say about Brodie Couch, I think. Righto, boys. Here is the Fantasy Bros consensus 11. We've spoken about a lot of these guys in depth. Josh Inglis, our consensus wicketkeeper. Conley, Smith, and Finn Allen. No surprises there. Aaron Hardy, Edwards, Davies, and Dwarshus, the all-rounders. And rounding out a pretty popular front 3 as well with the ball, Payne, Starc, and Richardson. Geez, I think that'll be a pretty popular 11. And it might just come down to rarities in a lot of those comps, and who we want to put a lot of salary in. I think some pods there on screen. Lockie Shaw, we've said him a few times. Ashton Turner, he's got the lowest floor and highest ceiling, I think, in terms of disparity between the two. So could that come off? Who knows? Rapid fire, both of you. Just a quick shout. Who scores the most points out of everyone on field there? Dill, you first.
Oh, who scores the most points? Cooper Conley.
So you're going to put some higher salary on Connolly. If you could, Haz, where's your salary going?
Aaron Hardy.
Yeah, nice. I like that. And I'll say Steve Smith as well with the form he is in. Boys, they say you're only as good as your last performance. And as you can see on screen, I took out around 16 of the Bro Down Showdown thanks to Steve Smith's 92 GDS points. Edwards and Stark close behind, 48 and 45 respectively. Dill, you happy if we don't even bother about Bro Down Showdown to finish off, and we just wave the white flag and give Haz the victory?
Well done.
Thanks, boys.
Well done, Haz, on debut. Great work, mates.
It's probably the only thing that's gone for me this season, so I'll take it.
It's the only thing that matters, isn't it?
That's exactly right. It's superior bro, isn't it?
That's right. You are the superior bro. Before we get to the prizes, Stu, just quickly, I just had it up on screen before. Timo, he's mentioned he is at the game and the rain has stopped. So it's great to hear. He is a massive Scorchers fan, and I spoke to Timo earlier in the week, and he said he was going to try and get the show broadcast live on one of the big screens at the Optus Stadium. So I know that the viewers over there are pretty happy to hear us as the warm up to the game. So good on everyone there, and good luck to all the Perth Scorchers fans over there at Optus Stadium. Look, we had a bit of a chat before, and there were 3 people that commented, Stu, for the Bro Down Showdown last round. So instead of finding a winner out of those 3, we're going to give away cards to all 3 of them. So I'm just going to throw their names up on screen quickly, and we'll work out who gets first, second, and third in the unique 3-player pack that I'm going to open. So Izzy, Mel's, and Mian G, congratulations. Thank you, as always, for supporting us. You guys have won an opportunity to win some cards. So let's spin the wheel. This is going to be the first card in the unique 3-player pack that I'm going to open in a moment.
Mian G.
Alrighty, first one's going to Mian.
And since the 3 of you have joined us just about every single show, if there's any particular card you're chasing for tonight, let us know in the chat and we'll sort out something nice and quickly if we can do that for you as well, whether it's a Cooper Conley Gold or an Aaron Hardy Plat, something like that. Let us know. You 3 will do what we can.
Alrighty, I'm just going to refresh GameDay squad here using some teams, so hopefully it doesn't slow down too much. Alrighty, like I said, I've got a 3-player unique here. Let's open that and then let's get some cards for these wonderful people.
Oh, big animation.
Animation. Here we go. Can we get a red? Can we see a red? All right, first up, we've got Mian G. Let's kick it off. Mian G, Chrissy Lynn Platt. Lovely. Good work there, Mian G. Next up, we've got Mel's Misfits. We've got a Bowie Webster Platt for you. And then the final card for Izzy. It is a... Izzy.
You are kidding.
What a way to end this season.
Wow.
Oh. Holy.
Oh, my. Congrats, Izzy.
Izzy.
And well if it's someone playable this evening, how good.
Quick quiz. Who's it going to be? Cooper Conley?
Brody Couch.
Oh, don't do that. Oh, wow. Hey, all righty, here we go. Good luck, Izzy. Harry Dixon. Oh.
Is that your... Have you backed a legend before in cricket?
Have I? Yeah, I have. I've got a couple of legends.
Who was that again?
Mac Wright was one of them, and Liam Hatcher was the other one. I also backed Callaway But
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Well done, Izzy.
Izzy, I mean, look, it's a dynasty platform. Harry Dixon's got every chance of being a future star. So hopefully that is a card that you'll be able to play in the future. Good on you, mate. I'm just happy that we pulled a legend on stream. How good. Let's go.
Wow. The very last card given away was a legend. I hope that second time you've pulled a legend in a giveaway. Who was the other one?
Really? Oh, let us know who the other one was, Izzy.
When was that?
And it's from his favourite team. There you go.
His favourite team, the Renegades. How good is that?
Red on red. Love it.
There you go. And it's only possible when you join in the Fantasy Bros stream and you get involved in the Bro Down Showdown. Gee, I hope that is good signs for what's to come in the rugby league and the Aussie rules season. As you can see on screen, guys, no more Oz cricket previews. Our focus now shifts, of course, to the Aussie rules and rugby league pre-season dropping tomorrow. The Aussie rules first pre-season show will hit YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. So make sure you are ready to rock and roll with all of the goodness from Haz and Pity with all things Aussie rules. Dill, you and I will get to the rugby league and we'll drop that a little bit later on this week. Is that the plan? Yeah,
looking likely. And then the couple of textbooks for each competition will be coming out early Feb as well. And then the other thing to keep an eye out is all of our content over on Instagram and TikTok as well. We'll be updating those regularly also.
Well, there we have it. Thanks very much, Haz. Thanks, Dill. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Once again, we really appreciate all the support, every live stream. Can't wait to see familiar faces and names again on the Aussie Rules and Rugby League previews and live shows. Until then, good luck for your final round. Make sure you sign up to the Discord. Make sure you subscribe into Fantasy Bros. Big season still ahead. Good luck this evening, boys.
Cheers, boys.